Imiquimod cream, 5%. And I mean, that package is thin as a razor blade. What could possibly be in there? Not much. Hey, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Well, still trying to cure some skin cancer. It's not a bad solar day. I could even be outside. I would still cover up on a day like this, given my skin cancer history. But I'm trying a new treatment. So now I am 27 melanomas deep into my history with melanoma. I just had my 27th removed. And as some of you know that have been following this channel, I went all the way to the mainland to meet with some specialists to try to get some answers. We did pick up my 27th melanoma while I was there. I just had that excised a couple of weeks ago, another wide excision. They cut you very generously for melanoma, as many of you know. And now the person out there in UCSF I saw, the doctor, has recommended I start using this Imiquimod cream. And I'm going to start by applying this to my left arm. And I do that for 10 weeks. And if I can tolerate the treatment, then I'll move over to the right arm and do that for 10 weeks. And then to another part of my body for 10 weeks. So this isn't going to happen fast, but they're very optimistic that this will even slow down the melanoma. And I mean, I've been putting this on for a little over a week now. I think 9 days so far. Tonight will be my 10th treatment. And when I open this, I can only get the smallest little amount out of this. I mean, as you can see how thin that is, this isn't packing a lot of stuff, so it must be pretty potent. And I've researched this quite a bit since it's been prescribed to me, and I've watched some YouTube videos of people that have been applying this, different parts of their body for different types of skin cancers, basal cell, squamous cell. I hadn't seen anybody applying it specifically for melanoma, which is my #1 concern. And I even asked my doctor for melanoma, and she said yes, she really thought it would work. So even if it doesn't cure what's happening, if it can slow the cutting down, I'm going to be a big fan of this. Now, this is supposedly going to react with my immune system, so I will get an immune response, and it will bolster up my immune system and hopefully fight that melanoma off some. So I haven't seen a reaction yet. There's a long list of possible side effects. A lot of people that I've seen applying this Imiquimod to different parts of their body, they look like they've been sunburned. After they put it on, their skin can start scabbing up, and that can be a response. I'm not seeing that so far on me. The only 2 side effects I can say that I have got, I've gotten some mild nausea in the mornings with it and a couple of mild headaches, both of which I never get and have only started happening to me since I've been applying this cream. So those are listed in the possible side effects, and it says to contact your provider or your doctor if they become intolerable side effects. I guess that's subjective. What's happening to me right now, I would not stop this treatment because of that right now, the mild nausea and mild headaches. And they don't last very long, mostly in the mornings. So yeah, I'll show you what it looks like when I put this on, because I mean, it's hard to get coverage on my entire arm with what is in one particular treatment. And I put that on at night. You leave it on all night long for at least 8 hours, and then in the morning you're supposed to wash your arm off with mild soap and water. So I've been doing that now for 9 times. This will be number 10. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. It says the net weight of this is 0.25 grams. And I would think the package alone weighs that. What's inside of here? I'll show you. It's not much. So you can see my left arm here, and you can see how it's becoming a little deformed from all of the surgeries I've had on it. That latest little dip and cut in it was what I had taken out 2 weeks ago. And you can see I'm just littered with other spots. They're all trying to be melanoma. Any one of those I could get biopsied and it would be so severely atypical at least. But a lot of those, I can already tell they're trying to be melanoma as well. And I'm not seeing any skin reaction to that cream over 10 days. And you can see I've just got, I'm dotted with all this precancerous, at least precancerous stuff. And a lot of my melanomas don't look any more sinister than those spots you see on me right now. So I get uncountable biopsies, and yeah, they whack you pretty good, to get clear margins on melanoma. So if I can even slow down the rate of cutting, I'll be happy. I don't know if it'll cure what's going on with me. And this is going to be the first thing we try as an alternative to the knife. And I'm not sure this will pick up all the scars, but this left arm has been whacked on. From the elbow to the shoulder, I've had about 7 or 8 melanomas in this area. And this arm, I just can't take much more of a beating. So I'm hoping to start seeing some fading of these lesions that are popping up. A lot of what is showing up are new. They pop up overnight on me. A lot of this stuff, they almost have, a freckle. They're not like moles. And they fly under the radar of a lot of dermatology. Here on my chest, you can see I've got some. They're going to have to be dealt with. I've been whacked everywhere. But it keeps coming, and it keeps coming on strong. So really got my fingers crossed that this is going to work, because yeah, those white excisions are brutal. Yeah, so many spots. And I can go anywhere else in my body. It looks exactly the same way. So Imiquimod, 5%. Let's hope that works, because there's some problem areas. Now it looks like I'm starting to see just a tiny bit of lightening around some of those, like they're developing maybe a little white around them. So I'm hoping that that's a response, and I hope to start seeing some of those disappear. Got quite a few on my belly and my chest. This is now looking over on my right side, which even if this does work on my left arm, it's going to be months before we get to applying it on this side of my body, because 10 weeks on the left arm, 10 weeks on the right arm, 10 weeks on the back, then 10 weeks on the front. So yeah, this is going to take a minute. So I'm all fired up to do it. The only question I have, when I've watched some of the other videos, and I'll be interested if any of you have tried this. I see a lot of it being used in Australia and other places around the world, and they're getting pretty good results with it. Not specifically for melanoma, more for basal cell carcinomas and squamous cell carcinomas. And then they also use this for genital warts. You'll see a lot of that online too, people using it for that. So I'm wanting it specifically for the melanoma. That's what I want to stop, and that's what I'm going to keep applying this for. But because I have hundreds of lesions all over, front and back, head to toe, and I'm starting to develop in some very, very tricky places. I've got one coming up right there. I'm not sure the camera will pick it up, but it's right under my right eyelid, and that one's looking like a melanoma too, right there. I'll try and zoom in. I can't really see what I'm doing, but that has all the telltale signs of being a problem area. And yeah, I don't know how they'd go about getting that. I picked one up on the tragus part of the ear right here, that little part right there that we all have. And that was a pretty radical cut. They thought they were going to have to cut my ear off to get the clear margins. They ended up doing Mohs surgery on that, which was the first time I had Mohs done. And so far it's holding. That was a few years ago. I'm not seeing any reoccurrence right there, so I'm happy about that. So, yeah, here we go. Oh yeah, so I wanted to finish my one thought. Any of you that have been using this, I'd be curious as to how you reacted to it. There is quite a lot of information out there about that, and quite a few people have posted their experience. And yeah, the treatment on the face looks pretty rough. Even around the other parts of the body looks pretty rough, but they say that that is the immune response. And I'm just not seeing anything here. And I was hoping I'd see something by now, but you know, maybe it's going to take a little bit more. I am going to talk to the pharmacist tomorrow, and then my doctor as well, and say, am I applying enough? Because some of the other people from around the world, their Imiquimod's coming in a larger tube, like almost a toothpaste tube size of stuff, and they seem to be laying it on a little thicker than what I can get out of that little teeny packet. So yeah, I'd be interested if any of you have any experience with this, how it was working and how much you were applying compared to what I'm going to show you here in a little bit, of how much I can get out of one packet, one treatment to cover the entire arm. Never thought I'd be standing like this, exposing my body. This scar right here, that was the very first one I picked up near 15 years ago, and it's been nonstop ever since. And that was a huge cut on the neck, and now even more popping up all around. There's a spot that's gonna have to go bye-bye. Uncountable. And my surgeon would like a little help too, so we've all got our fingers crossed that this is gonna be something that can slow that knife treatment down. And let me qualify what type of melanoma we're trying to slow down, and that's the most superficial, or melanoma in situ, which is confined to the epidermis. For any invasive melanomas that are embedded in the dermis, as well as in situ, once they've been discovered, the surgical margins are basically the same, if not exactly the same, depending where you're getting them excised. We're trying to go for the in situs, the ones that are in the epidermis. As far as my understanding, I don't think this Imiquimod is supposed to extract and kill the cancer that is deep to the epidermis or in the dermis. And certainly not for anything that was any deeper than that, like in lymph nodes or metastasized anywhere. So that's my understanding right now, is we're going to go after melanoma in situ, of which I've had probably about 20 of those, and that's because I'm Johnny on the spot with new lesions. New lesions on me are always a problem. They're always developing into melanoma. A lot of them, when they come back from pathology, say worrisome for developing melanoma in situ. So that's my understanding of what we're going for, not for anything that would be in the dermis. And I have picked up one or two in the dermis that never even showed themselves. We only caught them on the white excisions for a known melanoma in situ. We excised that, and in the pathology found some invasive melanomas, only a couple like that. And when I first started with melanoma, my first few originally were in the dermis. And once I got a good idea of what they were looking like on me, and like I said, a lot of mine were flying under the radar of dermatology. They would say, well, I'll cut this off. I don't think it's anything. I'm going to cut it off. Sure enough, it came back as invasive melanoma. Stayed within that 1 millimeter depth, so I didn't have to start harvesting lymph nodes at that time. And they have actually changed some of those parameters for harvesting lymph nodes now to about 0.75 millimeters, depending where you go. Out here, that we were still going with the 1 millimeter depth of invasion. If it didn't exceed that, we wouldn't harvest lymph nodes to see if I had further spread. So I've managed to avoid that to this point, and that is my goal, is to keep avoiding any more cutting than necessary. So yeah, I just wanted to clarify that before I put this treatment on. We're going for the most superficial melanomas, the ones that are confined to the epidermis, and hope my immune system will kick into gear and start sucking that crap out of me. And boy, I'll tell you, if this little cream works, that's going to be a huge game changer for me. Huge. Because right now, the only thing that I'm dealing with is I point the spots out that are new and developing and evolving and don't meet any of the criteria for leaving them on my skin. And my surgeon biopsies those with a surgical biopsy or excisional biopsy. I don't do shave biopsies at all, not with my history. I want the entire information always cut out of me and analyzed. Those shave biopsies are notorious for someone slicing through there and destroying the lesion, not getting it completely, and you can never regain that information once that lesion has been bisected in that manner. So someone like me should always get an excisional biopsy. Means they cut you with a knife, they cut around it nice and good, and get the entire thing for analyzing in the pathology lab. So there's that. That's my 2 cents. That's how I deal with it. And I want that to slow down because I get cut on a very regular basis, very regular, like every few weeks. And I also pick up a moderate amount of the basal cell carcinoma and the squamous cell carcinoma. I've even had a couple of other types of skin cancer that elude me, a couple of them kind of rare. So I'm getting it all, but it's that melanoma, the one that could, left unattended, could take you out of the game fairly quickly. So yeah, Johnny on the spot with those things, guys. And just because it has been mentioned to me and asked of me many times, it's like, wow, how did that happen? So I have all of the markers for developing melanoma. I had uncountable severe sunburns growing up. I'm a redhead. I've got a genetic component. There is melanoma in my family history. So yeah, 3 strikes and I was already out of the game as far as that. I don't go out in the sun exposed ever, as many of you know. Sun protective clothing now has gotten very reasonably priced. You always see me, I'm standing under the shade right now, of course. But I don't walk around like this ever. Not even on a day where you think the sun's not getting through. It's getting through, damaging your skin. So the older you get, you guys know what I'm talking about. You start growing barnacles, weird stuff on your skin from too much exposure to the sun without protection. So use the good sunscreen, cover up. If you got to go outside in the sun, make sure you're taking all the precautions, because take it from me, when you get older, it'll come back and haunt you. And then you're getting into a knife fight on a regular basis. All right, time for treatment. And that little packet, I'm able to squeeze out just these little teeny blobs up and down my arm. And I found that with this way, I can just about get it to spread over the entire surface from shoulder to wrist. And it rubs in just fine. There's no oiliness or greasiness or anything. It just rubs right in, and then I have to go wash the hand that my right hand, because you're supposed to not get it anywhere else, but I had to use my fingertips to rub it in. So that's it. I'm calling it a night. I'm treated for the 10th time. Had a little bit of nausea for most of the day, which is about the longest that has continued. So I hope that starts to ease off. But again, it's not bad enough that I would think about stopping this treatment. I want to stop this cancer. So good night. The frogs are creaking, croaking. Time for bed. Catch you guys on the next one. Aloha. All right, bedtime. Yeah, I'll try and put my clothes on for the next video. Got another review to do for you guys coming up. So, yeah, I won't be parading around half naked, but just wanted to show you guys, hopefully, a new treatment available for all of us for skin cancer besides the knife. All right. do some laundry, and then I'll get dressed.